In this video, we're going to cover turn-in guidelines. We're going to see how we can use our Google Drive to gain access to the turn-in folder for each class that you're going to be in. We're going to go over how we can submit various projects, how we create various project folders, and basically how we can turn them in to Moodle so we get credit for the assignment and that it was turned in on time. All right. So I guess the first thing we're going to do is take a look at Google Drive. All right. I'm going to switch over to this tab. This is just a temporary account that I have. If you want to know how to get to Google Drive, just sign into your Gmail, and then hopefully this little checkerboard toolbar button will be there. And when you click that, there'll be Drive. If you can't get to it like that, then you can always just type Google Drive in your address bar. There'll be a few more steps, and then maybe after you get to it the first time, you can just type in Google Drive. I don't know. However you want to get there, that's your prerogative. So within Google Drive, we have unlimited storage as long as you are logging in with your student email. You can use a personal Google Drive account, but you're limited to 10 gigs. With your student education version of your Gmail accounts through the school, you can have unlimited storage. And we can work with some pretty big files, especially when we get with big game projects, big Photoshop files, and big 3D sculpting files. So go ahead and get in the habit of using your Google Drive with your school email specifically. One thing I want to show real quick while we're inside Google Drive is how we can create folders. Folders are going to be a good way to help us organize our work. So we'll go to New, Folder, and what I like to do is just make a folder called SGD, and boom. Now I have a folder that I can put all my SGD stuff in there, maybe like SGD 114, modeling 1, for instance. All right, great. And we'll come back to this folder in a second when we get into gaining access to a class's turn-in. All right, so if you're with me at this point, we're in Google Drive. We just learned how to make folders. What we're going to do now is look and see how we can gain access to the Google Drive submission folder for each class. When you get into Moodle for the first time, you'll see a home page with some attendance stuff and announcements, maybe. But if we go to our course information page and go down to turn in guidelines here, you see we have this link right here, Google Drive link for upload. When you click this, you're going to be taken to a page that looks something like this. I want you to request access. That is going to send you an email to me, and hopefully with less than 24 hours, probably less than that, probably less than an hour, I'll grant you access to the class's turn-in folder. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and give myself access. All right, so to make sure that you have access to this folder, we're going to just go in and log into our email address and check our mail. You'll get a notification right here that says, has invited you to contribute to the following folder. Boom. Then we can go to open. And right here, we see it inside of our Google Drive. All right, so we know how to get to this folder from clicking the email, but probably don't always want to do that, right? So the easiest way to see everything that's been shared with you is to click shared with me right here. So if we click shared with me, I had to log back into the right one after granting access. So if you click shared with me, then boom, you can see the folder right there. And this is probably the coolest thing you can do if we right click a shared folder and then add to my drive. This will put this folder into your regularly organized Google Drive. Here we see it right here. And that's chapter 1 and chapter 2 turn-ins. But I want to go a step further. I want to be super organized. I want to click into SGD modeling 1. I'm going to create maybe a folder. Well, you know what? I don't even have to do that. I'm going to expand this little tree right here, and we can see everything that's in my Google Drive folder. what I'm going to do next is move this folder into my Modeling 1 folder. Put it next to some other folders called, we don't want to upload a folder. New, make a new folder. Let me zoom out. We're going to call this Chapter 01. So for all your chapters in modeling, you can keep a chapter or a folder for each one. And then I'm just going to go and navigate to my drive. I'm going to right click on this modeling folder and I want to click on Move To. It's going to ask me where I want to move it. So you just navigate where you want to put it. And I'm going to move it here next to Chapter 01. So that's how you can add folders into your own Google Drive. You can still see it in the Share With Me option here, but now I know exactly where to find it in my own Google Drive at all times. All right, great. So now we see how we can gain access to the Turn-In folder for our classes. Next, why don't we see how we can actually submit different types of projects, okay? There's going to be a few rules for each one, and those will be listed in the assignment turn-ins or somewhere within the syllabus or informational section on the particular course's information section. All right, so why don't we just start off by looking at a Photoshop turn-in. I think that'll be the most simple and straightforward. So I'm going to bring up an old Photoshop document of a texture I did for a weapon prop. This was some kind of hammer or axe, I believe. As you can see, I have multiple different layers right here. The normal map, the shiny map, the specular map, we call it. The map that controls what parts of the prop glows in the game engine. So, it might behoove your instructor to be able to see all your different layers in Photoshop. So we got to turn in at least two separate things. One is our overall PSD file, which can be pretty big, which makes uploading it to Google Drive more useful than going straight to Moodle. And a snapshot JPEG of your submission so your instructor can see your work straight through Moodle. Okay, so we're going to turn in two separate things. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to make sure that whatever I want my instructor to see in my JPEG is only visible. Now, if he wants to see my color map, I don't want to have my rainbow colored normal map showing. So I'm just going to have my diffuse, my color map showing. I'm going to go to File, Save As. And I'm just going to put this on my desktop for now because I'm going to upload it to Moodle. All right, so that's Darksider Hammer texture. And so we'll save that as a JPEG, not a PNG or a PSD, but a nice small JPEG that we can see right here. All right, great. Before we upload that JPEG onto Moodle, though, why don't we go ahead and save out our final PSD here. So I'm going to do a Save As. I'm going to make sure I'm saving as a PSD. And for right now, I'm going to take it straight to my desktop again, and I'm going to call this Rotor Patrick Chapter 01 SGD 101, just as an example. So that would be a great turn-in name, and then maybe something like textures or hammer textures, something that maybe will be easily recognizable by you, but the important stuff is there. I need to know who it is and what class it's for and what chapter. So we're going to save that PSD right there. And why don't we see how we can upload a document into a turn-in folder. Now, you're going to have to take a stretch with me here. I'm not going to make separate folders for each class that these three assignments or three softwares might be in. So we'll use the exact same model or folder that we just gained access to in Modeling 1. All right. So you're in your Modeling 1 turn-in folder, for instance. Let's just say that I needed to turn in some textures for Modeling 1. So what chapter was it? It was Chapter 1. So yeah, let's just do that. I changed my mind. I want to upload it to Chapter 3. There's some other work sitting in here right now, and I wanted to go to a blank chapter. So go into your folder. First thing you're going to do is you're going to go back and double check that you saved it right. That looks good. Go back to where you saved the file. Double check your name. Oh, my name is wrong. This is actually chapter 3 now. I did it wrong. So obviously I planned a little whoopsie there. All right. So there's a few ways we can upload this PSD into our chapter 3 turn-in folder. The easiest way is probably just to drag and drop it straight from your desktop into Google Drive. You can see that it's automatically uploading right there. It's got 1 minute left. Let's see it a little bit closer. This Zoom is getting crazy. So here we see that we got 1 minute left. Here's a little progress bar down here. I can't hover over it because it turns into an X. So while that's going on, why don't we go to another tab and let's go to that chapter we want to turn it into. So this is just an example of a chapter. You'll definitely want to go to your chapter, but I don't have number 3 exposed right now. Just follow along with me. So we'll go to your assignment turn in for your particular chapter. Let's pretend this says chapter 3 right now. And then you'll see this add submission button over here on the right. We click it. Then we come down here, and if it's a file submission only, we see this little turn in right here. So we can click the little paper. I'm going to choose my file. I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to select the JPEG. This is what actually counts you as turning in the assignment. Just uploading your file to Google Drive alone won't do it. We want to see your completion by uploading something like a JPEG or something of that nature for Photoshop. So we choose that. We're going to upload your file. Notice how it was named right. If it's a JPEG, it'll just take a few seconds to upload. Shouldn't be too big of a problem. And there we go. You can see our little thumbnail there. And just click Save Changes. And boom. You can always go back in and edit your submission, or you can see comments or make comments that your instructor makes after you submit something right here. All right. So that's how we can submit a Photoshop assignment. Those 2 steps. And then why don't we double check to make sure that we have, oh, there's something wrong with Photoshop. All right, I had to get back logged in because I wanted to show us how we can check and make sure our upload went. So I'm going to go back to my drive. I'm going to go to my SGD folder, modeling 1, and then here's my turn in folder right here, chapter 3, and boom, my assignment is turned in. There's no more upload. If you want to be double sure that it got in right, maybe your first few times submitting something, maybe re-download it. That way you can check and see if it's corrupted or anything like that. For those of you that like to be safe rather than sorry, just double check your submissions like that. All right, great. So JPEG into Moodle right here, and then our PSD into Google Drive. This will serve as a backup for you and a way for us to gain easy access to those bigger files. So we're going to switch gears here and see about Maya projects. Let me close some tabs down. Boom. And just leave right there. All right. So why don't we go ahead and open up a Maya project that I've been working in. It's just an old mobile game character that I designed a long time ago. But I figured it might be just a good example to see what's going on here. We're going to look and see how we can actually create a Maya project folder. Right now, I have this guy saved in a folder called Frog with all my iterative saves and just some textures. Probably not the best thing, because if I open these up, Maya or Maya wouldn't know how to link these textures together. It'd be a nightmare. So in your modeling classes, you're going to be required to make a Maya project. And even if you've already started and haven't made one, it's really easy to get started. What we're going to do is go to File up here and go down to Project window. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on a new project. We're going to give it a name. So let's call this SGD 114 Chapter 03. We're going to pick a place to save it at. So I'm going to click this folder here. I'm going to navigate to my desktop. And we don't need to click on or type anything here. If I'm in my desktop, I'm going to select that folder. You can double check the file path right there. And it's going to make all these different folders for us. That's fine. Go ahead and click accept. And if we look on our desktop now, we have this new folder with our new name we gave it. And if we look inside, we see all these folders here. And if you already have an old place where you were saving something, you can just go to that folder. And I'm just going to drag and drop those files into my scenes folder here. So all of the things you model will go into your scenes folder. And then my textures, you might think they go into something like images, but Maya likes to put them in source images. Let that name burn into your minds. We're going to click on source images, and we're going to put our textures there. Perfect. So now I have a nice set up Maya project. Perfect. I'm going to delete frog. Frog needs to go. Let's put those textures away for right now. And this is what we're really looking at right now, my Maya project with all these folders. All right, so now we know how to make a Maya project. Now why don't we see how we can submit a Maya project. We are going to go into Maya. We're going to make our last final save because let me go to open scene. There's a lot of files here, right? How do I know which one to open? Well, I could just look at, no, probably not, because it's not always a guarantee that this date modified will be accurate. Or you may have a file that you saved after your last final one just to experiment with something, and then I get a weird model. So we're going to make a final save. So we're going to do a save as, and you're going to call it something formal like, I don't know, Rotor Patrick chapter 03 SGD 114 final, like so. So the word final there definitely lets me know what's up. So now when I go to your folder, I can see a formal looking file right there, and I'll know that's the one I need to grade. All right. If I can't pick out which one to grade, I'm just going to guess using the time date thing, and I'm going to count points off pretty much. So make sure you have labeled exactly which scene you would like to be graded. All right, so after we save that, we're going to go ahead and exit out of Maya. All right, great. So here's our project folder. Next, we're going to zip this folder up because this folder is actually our submission into Google Drive. So we're going to, you know what, send this to, we're going to right click here and send to a compressed folder. All right, you'll notice it makes a new folder wherever you know your files and folders are. It makes a new folder with a zipper on it. This makes uploading to Google Drive at least 10 times faster and more efficient. Okay, so always send to compressed folders before you upload. Why don't we go back to Google Drive now and go to our submission folder. So I'm going to go back to my Google Drive. Here's my SGD modeling 1. I'm going to make a submission by going to chapter 3, and then same thing here. Just drag and drop your zip folder into the submission. As you can see, that was a little bit smaller, but now you have an archive of your work inside your Google Drive. All right, great. You may want to make your own copies, so you can always go to your submission, right click, make a copy, or you may want to upload your version to your Google Drive first and put it in your own archive backup, like so. Oh, you can move folders and files like this as well by going to your tree hierarchy. That'll be okay. And here we have your files there in a new folder for chapter 3. And just tuck that into chapter 3 right there. My chapter 3 turn-in inside my chapter 3 folder inside my modeling folder. All right, so that's how we submit our Maya project. But what about Moodle? Don't forget this step. So let's back out and go to another assignment turn-in area. So we're going to go to Introduction to 3D Design. Here's our assignment here. We're going to make a submission. But you'll notice that it's only online text here. What's going on? What I want you guys to do for this is to go to the file that you actually turned in. Oh my goodness. You know what I did? The cardinal sin. Look at that naming convention. Whose project is this? I don't even know. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to rename it before my instructor finds out. Rotor Patrick. I'm going to put in some nice underscores so it looks all fancy. There we go. That was close. So I'm going to go into rename and I'm going to copy the name of my file. And I'm just going to Control V or right click and paste just the name of the file I submitted and save changes. All right. That lets me know that you submitted. That lets Moodle know that you've submitted. And it also double checks that you get the right name file. And it lets me know exactly what you've turned in. Like there's no question about it. All right. So that's how we submit Maya work. Next, why don't we see how we can create a Unity project? So, if we want to create a Unity project, we just double click on our Unity icon, sign into our accounts, and we're met with a landing page that looks a little bit like this. It might be outdated for future versions of Unity, but there's a landing page, and that's all you need to pretty much know about it. So what we'll do is we'll pick launch a new project or the equivalent of such a thing. We'll pick all the settings. We'll name this. So I'm going to name this. I'm just going to go ahead and name it my turn-in name. I'm just going to be safe. Chapter 04 SGD 1113 for SGD 113. Where do I want to save it? Well, I like working on my desktop for things I know I'm going to back up and move later. And what organization? There we go. You don't probably have to worry about organization. Don't worry about that one. But I just did it just to be, because I was focused on it. So we're going to wait for Unity to create its project. So you're going to see, it going through all the motions of building out your meta files, getting a fresh work environment for you. I'm going to go ahead and pause until this finishes. And we're getting close to a finish, I think. Here we go. A few more loading bars, and here's our fresh Unity work environment. Perfect. If we go to our desktop, you'll notice I have a new folder called Patrick Rotor Chapter 04 SGD 113 right there. All right, so this, if we click into it, we can see all the files in my Unity project. Guess what, though? If you've heard one thing about managing your Unity project is to never mess with your files outside of Unity. If you need to do any organization things, always use your project window down there. The reason we don't mess with our files is, why don't we go back and explore that? If we go to our assets folder of our new Unity project, you can see that we have all these files called .meta. These things basically are the conductors of all of our files and folders, and they tell us, or they tell Unity rather, where things are located. The second you mess with one of these meta files, your project sinks. So don't touch them. All right, so brand new Unity project. We don't have to worry about this folder at all. We do have to know where it's located. That's about it. We're going to switch gears into a fully made Unity game, right? Like so, where there's lots of stuff, scenes and assets, and textures and models, sound effects. All this stuff is stored within your project folder. So in this project folder, well, oh, this is the actual build of the game. Yeah, that's right. So in this project folder, you would see all these assets listed. But again, I don't know why I'm showing you that stuff. We should never touch those folders. All right, perfect. If you want to see what a Unity project looks like packed out with assets, then here we go. These are all the files you'll import into a Unity project. It can be pretty big. All right, so why don't we see how we can turn in a Unity project? All right, so the first step of turning in a Unity project is to save your scene, make a build if that's part of the whole deal, save your project, and exit out of Unity altogether. Just exit out. And to be safe, every instance of Unity you might have open. All right. Let's take that Unity project that I made a second ago, and we're going to do the same thing we did to our Maya project. We're going to send this to a compressed folder. It'll appear on your desktop or wherever you're working with your folders. And this little guy right here is actually what we're going to turn in. And I know I got the right naming convention because it was that way all along. Perfect. So again, we're going to go to our Google Drive, wherever assignment or folder that you need to turn it in for your class. Navigate to it within your Google Drive, and again, just drag and drop. This one might take a little bit longer since it's a Unity project. So just let your uploads take the time, and remember, during that time, you can always go in and do your submission. And again, you're just going to paste the name of whatever project folder you just submitted. And make sure you save the changes and submit, and your instructor will know that you've turned in your Unity project or your Maya project. They'll see the JPEG of your Photoshop project, and you'll get counted with your work in on time. All right, great. So those are the 3 different kinds of folders and files we've uploaded. 2 zip folders for Maya and Unity, and just a JPEG of our final piece of our Photoshop assignment. Thanks, guys.